He didn't say, "Please stay." He didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't chase. But something in his stillness whispered louder than any desperate plea ever could. Because some men, the ones who've learned to carry their pain with dignity, don't fight love with noise. They fight it with presence, with memory, with silence. When a man is afraid of losing the one thing that gave his world meaning, he doesn't always know how to say it. He's scared his words will push you further away, scared that admitting how deeply he feels will make him look weak. So instead, he folds that fear into everyday moments. Small gestures, subtle signs. He won't block the door or drop to his knees. He'll just stand a little longer than necessary. He'll just ask if you've eaten, even when it's late. And he knows you haven't replied to his last message. He knows you're slipping away. He feels it in the quiet that used to be filled with laughter. He sees it in the way your eyes no longer rest on him the same. But he doesn't beg. He simply shows up, in the shadows of routine, in the places you might not notice until you're gone. That's how some men love, not loudly, but deliberately. He'll wear the shirt you once said looked good on him, not to impress anyone else, but to hold on to the moment you said it. He'll fix things around the house that no one asked him to, because staying busy hurts less than feeling empty. He'll bring up memories, gently, not to manipulate you, but because it's all he has left of what once felt real. And when you finally leave, with bags in hand, or with your silence louder than words, he won't chase you. But he might place your favorite book on your seat. He might stand at the door too long. He might pause during goodbye like his breath is caught between hope and heartbreak. And when he says, "Take care," it won't be casual. It will be a soft, breaking whisper for, "Please stay, even if you can't." This is not a story of grand declarations or cinematic breakdowns. This is a story of love held in restraint, of a man who chose silence, not because he didn't care, but because he cared so much, he didn't want to make it harder for you to go. But make no mistake, every quiet action, every unspoken moment, every breathless pause, was him screaming, "Don't leave me." 1. He texts, "Did you eat?" Even when he has nothing else to say. He texts, "Did you eat?" A sentence so simple, yet layered with silent emotion. It's not about the food. It's not about whether you had breakfast or skipped lunch. It's his way of checking in without sounding vulnerable. For a man who can't say, "I miss you," or "Please don't leave," this is his shielded form of affection. It's soft, unthreatening, and easy to overlook, but it's never meaningless. That one message carries everything he's too proud or afraid to say out loud. When he types those 4 words, he's asking more than just about your meal. He's asking, "Are you okay? Are you still thinking about me? Is there still a place for me in your day?" It's his attempt to remain part of your routine, to stay relevant in your life without pushing you away. He may read your reply several times. If you say yes, he may feel a tiny wave of comfort. If you say no, he might follow up with suggestions, or even silence, worried he's lost the right to care. It's not dramatic. It's not poetic, but it's real. It's how men who struggle with vulnerability try to hold on. That little text is a lifeline, not just for you, but for him too. He sends it hoping to keep a connection alive, even if it's thin and quiet. Maybe he doesn't know how to say, "I'm sorry," or "I need you." But when he texts, "Did you eat?" it's his way of saying, "I still care. I still want to be close. I'm still here." So when you receive that message, know that it's more than a question. It's a silent plea, a soft and stubborn way of saying, "Please don't go." 2. He doesn't stop you from walking away, but he stands at the door for too long. He doesn't say a word to stop you. No dramatic speech, no outstretched hand. You reach for your bag, your shoes, maybe the door handle, and still, silence. But then you notice he's standing there, not doing anything, just watching, frozen in place. His feet won't move, his lips won't part, but his eyes follow you like he's memorizing every step you take. It's not that he doesn't care. It's that he doesn't know how to say he does, not without pride cracking in his throat. Some men are taught not to chase, not to beg, not to plead. So instead, they stand still, hoping you'll look back, hoping you'll see that pause as something more than hesitation. Because in that moment, his silence is loud. He wants to say, "Don't leave," but all that comes out is stillness. His body becomes the message. He leans against the doorframe like it's holding him up. Maybe he fidgets with his hands or shifts his weight, small movements that betray the war inside him. He's torn between giving you space and wishing you'd turn around. That doorframe becomes the place where all the things he doesn't say hang heavy in the air. It's his last stand, not to convince you, but to let you know he's hurting too. He's not chasing, but he's not letting go either. And when you finally leave, when your footsteps fade, he might still be standing there, long after you're gone. Because sometimes the quietest way a man says stay is by not moving, by standing at the door too long, wishing you'd notice that he never really wanted you to walk away. 3. He sends you old photos, the kind only you would remember. He doesn't say, "I miss you." He doesn't ask, "Can we talk?" Instead, he sends a photo, blurry, random, maybe even silly. But not just any photo. It's one from a moment only the two of you would understand. A photo of that rainy evening at your favorite cafe. The one where you wore his hoodie. Or a snapshot from a road trip. The one where you got lost but laughed the whole way. He sends it casually. No caption, no context. Just the image. But that silence around the photo is the message. He's reaching back into the timeline of your shared story, pulling out a memory, and laying it at your feet like a soft offering. He's not asking to go back. He's just showing you that he still holds those pieces, still treasures them, still replays them in quiet hours. He doesn't say much, maybe just a "look what I found" or even nothing at all. But is hoping you'll pause, hoping the memory will hit you the way it hits him. That you'll smile, or ache, or wonder if you still mean something to him. Because the truth is, you do. Otherwise, he wouldn't be scrolling through old galleries late at night, picking moments carefully like pages in a love letter he's too afraid to write. When a man sends an old photo, it's his way of time traveling to when things felt whole. His saying, without words, "This mattered. You mattered. And maybe we still do." It's not about the picture. It's about the moment. And it's his way of whispering, "I haven't let go. Have you?" 4. He doesn't say "I miss you," but his voice sounds like he hasn't slept. He doesn't say, "I miss you." He won't let those 3 words leave his lips. Maybe because they make him feel exposed. Maybe because he's scared they'll go unanswered. But when he speaks, his voice tells the truth for him. It's slower, softer, a little cracked at the edges. Like someone who's been up all night, pacing through memories instead of dreams. You notice the difference immediately. The usual energy in his tone is gone. He doesn't laugh the same way. His words are fewer. And when he pauses, the silence lingers a little longer than it used to. He's not trying to be dramatic. In fact, he's trying to sound normal. But the tired weight in his voice betrays him. This isn't about physical exhaustion. It's emotional. It's the kind of tired that comes from replaying old conversations, wondering what went wrong, or hoping you'll text first. He won't admit that he stayed up scrolling through your photos. He won't tell you that he started typing "I miss you" 3 times and erased it every time. But when he answers your call, and you hear that worn-out breath, that quiet drag in his words, it's all there. His longing, his regret, his need to feel close again. He's not asking you to fix it. He's just hoping you'll hear what he can't say. Sometimes, love isn't loud. It hides behind heavy eyelids and half-spoken hellos. It lingers in the spaces between words. And when a man misses you but doesn't know how to say it, his voice will carry the ache. Not because he wants you to feel guilty, but because part of him hopes you'll hear it and say, "I miss you too." 5. He tells your favorite joke, hoping you'll laugh like you used to. He doesn't ask how you are. He doesn't mention the distance between you or the tension that's grown in the silence. Instead, he says something unexpected, your favorite joke. The one that made you laugh so hard your eyes watered. The one you repeated together so often, it became a part of your language. He drops it casually, like it's no big deal. Maybe in a text, maybe mid-conversation. But it's not random. It's not just humor. It's a quiet key to the past. He remembers what made you smile, What made you feel light? What made you laugh in a way that reached your eyes? And now, when things feel uncertain or strained, he reaches for that one thing that once always worked, your laugh. Because your laughter was his safe place. When you laughed, he knew everything was okay. And if he can get you to laugh again, even once, maybe he can believe that some part of us still exists. Maybe the door isn't fully closed. It's not about the joke. It's about memory, about comfort, about reaching for something that felt warm and untouched by whatever came after. It's a soft attempt at reconnecting, without pressure, without confrontation. Just two people sharing something that once made them both feel close. He doesn't say he misses you. He doesn't beg for another chance. He just says the one line that once made you snort in public or hold your stomach in laughter. And then he waits, not for a reply, but for a reaction, a smile, a moment of softness, anything that tells him you're still there, somewhere underneath the quiet. Sometimes love hides in the echoes of old jokes, not because it's afraid, but because it still remembers how beautiful the sound of your laughter was. 6. He stays silent during the call, just to hear you breathe. He answers the call, but says very little. The usual banter is missing. The rhythm of conversation feels different. You wait for him to speak, to ask something, to fill the silence. But he doesn't. He just stays there, on the line. Quiet, present, breathing. It might feel strange at first, like the call has no purpose. But it does. To him, this silence is the purpose. Because in that stillness, he hears you. Not your words, not your explanations, just you. Your breath, your presence. Proof that you're still there, even if only for a few minutes. He's not trying to make things awkward. In fact, he's trying not to ruin anything by saying too much. Words can betray vulnerability. But your breath, it calms him. It tells him the world hasn't completely changed, that there's still a thread between you two, however faint. He could hang up. He could say goodbye. But he doesn't. Because every second you stay on the line is a second he gets to feel close. Maybe you're folding laundry or cooking dinner while on speaker. Maybe you're not saying much either. But that doesn't matter to him. Your breathing, steady, soft, unaware, becomes his background music. It's intimate in a way that even words can't reach. He won't say, "I'm scared of losing you." He won't ask, "Are you still mine?" But he'll listen, quietly, hoping you'll stay just a little longer. Because when a man truly cares and doesn't know how to express it, he doesn't always fill the silence. Sometimes, he just holds space and listens to the sound of someone is afraid to lose, breathing quietly on the other end. 7. He pretends is fine, but leaves your side of the bed untouched. He says is fine, shrugs, smiles, acts like nothing's changed, as if your absence is just a phase, something temporary. He'll tell his friends he's busy, say he's sleeping well, pretend his days are full. But when night falls and the world quiets, his truth shows in the untouched side of the bed. He doesn't cross that line. He doesn't sprawl across the mattress. He leaves your pillow exactly where it's always been. Sometimes fluffed, sometimes still holding the shape of your head from nights ago. Maybe he even straightens the sheets on your side, as if keeping it ready for you. He sleeps on his side, like he's sharing the bed with memory. It's not habit, it's hope. Hope that maybe you'll come back. That maybe, just maybe, this space he's preserving will once again be filled with your laughter, your warmth, your heartbeat in the quiet hours. He might avoid that side like it's sacred, not out of drama, but out of love. Because that side of the bed isn't just a physical space. It holds echoes of whispered conversations, tired cuddles, late-night apologies, and morning smiles. He's not ready to erase that. He'll never say he misses you. But every night, when he pulls the blanket over just one half of the bed, he's telling the truth he can't speak aloud. He's not moving on, he's holding on. And in that small, silent act of leaving space beside him untouched, he's saying something louder than words ever could. I still sleep like you're coming home. 8. He keeps your mug in the cabinet, as if you'll use it tomorrow. He doesn't throw it away. He doesn't pack it up or move it to storage. Your favorite mug, the one with the chipped rim or the silly quote, still sits in the cabinet. Right there on the same shelf, in the same corner. Waiting. It's not just a mug. It's a placeholder for you. A quiet symbol of routine, of comfort, of the life you once shared. He sees it every morning, reaches past it sometimes, maybe even brushes his fingers along the handle, but he never moves it. Because moving it would mean admitting you're not coming back. You see, he doesn't know how to let go, not completely. So he holds on in small ways. Not in grand gestures or dramatic messages, but in subtle choices like this. A mug untouched, a space reserved. It's how he keeps a piece of you close, without saying it aloud. Sometimes he even imagines you using it again. Sitting across from him, coffee in hand, smiling like nothing's changed. That image keeps him going. It gives him something to hope for, even if he won't admit it. He might pretend he's moved on. He might even entertain the idea of someone new. But when it's just him in the quiet of the kitchen, he notices that mug, and it says everything he won't. I'm not ready to forget. I still believe there's a chance. I want you to come back, even if I can't say it. Because sometimes love doesn't shout or chase. Sometimes it waits. Silently. In the shape of a coffee cup no one else is allowed to touch. As if you'll walk in tomorrow morning, reach for it like you always did, and everything will feel right again. 9. He checks your status, then logs off without saying anything. He doesn't message you, doesn't react to your posts, doesn't type hey or I miss you. But he sees it, every update, every story, every change in your status. You might never notice, but is watching quietly from the background, checking in like someone standing just outside a closed door, listening for signs of life inside. He logs on, not to chat, but to make sure you're okay. To see if you're still smiling in your photos, still using the same playlist, still posting quotes that sound a little like how you used to speak to him. It's his way of staying close without crossing the line. He respects the space, but he can't help but care. When he sees you're active, he lingers. Maybe your green dot lights up, or your profile pic flashes to the top of the screen. And for a second, he hesitates, finger hovering over your name, heart unsure. But he doesn't message. He just logs off. Because what would he even say? That he's still thinking of you? That seeing you online stays up everything he's trying to suppress? No, silence feels safer. It's the only way he knows to love you from afar without making things harder for you, or for him. But every time he checks your status, it's not just curiosity. It's connection. It's the quiet hope that maybe you're thinking of him too. That maybe, deep down, you're doing the same, looking for signs of him, without ever saying a word. Because for some men, I miss you doesn't come through texts or calls. It comes through invisible visits, quiet, unnoticed, but full of longing, like checking your status and leaving without a trace, while holding a storm of unspoken words. 10. He brings up memories, not to trap you, but to hold on. He doesn't beg you to stay. He doesn't guilt you or try to rewrite the past. Instead, he brings up memories, gently, like someone holding something fragile. Maybe he'll say, "Remember that late-night walk when the city felt like ours?" Or, "I drove by that little place you loved today." It's never forced, never loud, just soft drops of remembrance in the middle of an ordinary conversation. He's not trying to trap you in nostalgia. He's not manipulating you with what once was. He's simply reaching for something real, the moments you shared, the laughter that felt effortless, the way you looked at him when you didn't know he was watching. These memories are his way of holding on without clutching too tightly, because he doesn't know how to say, "I still feel it." So he says, "Remember when?" And in that question lives everything he can't express. The hope, the ache, the silent wish that maybe you remember it the same way too. When he brings up memories, he's reliving the version of you that felt like home. Not because it's stuck, but because that was when things made sense. When love was simpler. He's not asking you to come back. He's just trying to keep the pieces from fading. It's his quiet way of saying, "This mattered to me. You mattered." Even if everything has changed, the memory remains untouched. And in sharing it, he gets to keep something sacred alive for just a moment longer. Sometimes, love doesn't fight. It remembers. And when a man brings up memories, it's not to rewind the story. It's to let you know that some chapters, no matter how far back, are still written in his heart. 11. He starts fixing things around the house, even when no one asked him to. He doesn't ask how you're doing. He doesn't send long messages or say he's hurting. But suddenly, he's fixing things, tightening loose screws, repairing that old cabinet door, replacing the broken light bulb in the hallway. Not because someone asked him to, not because it urgently needs doing, but because staying busy helps him feel less helpless. It's not about the tasks. It's about control. When everything else feels like it's slipping through his fingers, especially you, he turns to what he can still fix. A leaky tap, a squeaky hinge, a wall that needs repainting. These little jobs become his therapy, his silent way of coping with your absence. He doesn't talk much while he's doing it. Maybe he's unusually focused. Maybe you catch him working on something at odd hours. But in those moments, he's not just fixing furniture, he's holding himself together, hoping that if he can repair a broken shelf, maybe he can repair whatever broke between you two too. It's also his way of staying close to you. That shelf you used to complain about, he fixes it. The lamp you always turned on before bed, he makes sure it works. It's not about the object, it's about memory, connection, routine. About keeping pieces of you alive in the space you once shared. He won't say he misses you. He won't cry in front of anyone. But the way he suddenly becomes handy around the house, that's not random. It's grief wearing a tool belt. Love disguised as a to-do list. Because when a man can't fix what hurts his heart, he'll quietly fix what's in front of him, hoping, just maybe, it will help him feel a little less broken too. 12. He wears the shirt you once said looked good on him. He doesn't ask you to come back. He doesn't send long texts or confess that he still thinks about you every night. Instead, he pulls a certain shirt from his closet, the one you once pointed to with a smile and said, "You look really good in that." Maybe it's a simple tee, maybe a button-down you bought him, but it's not just fabric. It holds a moment. He wears it on days when he's feeling off, on days when the silence feels heavier than usual. Maybe he wears it when there's even the smallest chance he might see you. Maybe he wears it when he knows he won't, but wishes he would. That shirt becomes his armor and his comfort. It reminds him of a time when your eyes lit up seeing him in it, of how effortlessly you made him feel confident, even handsome. It's not about vanity. It's about connection. It's a way to wrap himself in something that still carries your words, your presence, your imprint. You might not notice, or maybe you do, and wonder why. But to him, it's a quiet ritual. A whisper of, "Do you remember this?" without ever saying it out loud. Sometimes he hopes you'll see him in it again. That maybe, just maybe, you'll recall the day you said those words, the way you laughed, the way things still felt whole. Because when a man can't say, "I miss you," he'll wear the things that remind him of when he didn't have to. And that shirt, that simple shirt, becomes more than clothing. It becomes his way of saying, "I'm still holding on to the version of me you once loved." 13. He pauses during goodbye, hoping you'll change your mind. He doesn't beg. He doesn't say, "Please don't go." But when it's time to say goodbye, whether after a phone call, a visit, or something heavier, he pauses. Just for a moment. A quiet, breath-held, heart-heavy pause that says more than any words could. You feel it. The way his voice catches ever so slightly. The way his eyes linger a bit longer. Like he's searching your face for a flicker of hesitation. Like he's giving you one last chance to say, "Wait, maybe not yet." But he doesn't ask. He won't put that pressure on you. So instead, he waits. Silently. Hoping. That pause isn't hesitation. It's longing. It's the last thread of hope wrapped in silence. His fingers might twitch. His lips might part slightly as if to speak, but nothing comes out. Because deep down, he knows he has to respect your choice, even if it's tearing him up inside. You might think he's fine with a goodbye, that has accepted it. But that extra second, that stillness right before the final word, is his heart's last effort. His holding space, just in case you decide to come back. Just in case you say, "Can we talk?" Or "I'm not ready either." He doesn't fight you. Doesn't follow. But when you look back, If you ever do, you'll realize that in that one pause, he was screaming without making a sound. Because when a man loves deeply and loses quietly, his goodbye is never instant. It's a moment drawn out in hope that maybe, just maybe, your heart will turn around before your footsteps do. 14. He lets you go, but not without placing your favorite book on your seat. He doesn't block the door. He doesn't argue or make a scene. He lets you go, quietly, respectfully. But before you walk out, you notice something resting on the seat beside your bag, your favorite book. It's not a grand gesture. It's not wrapped or dramatized. It's just there, exactly where you'd see it. The same book you used to read on rainy days. The one you once quoted during late-night talks. He remembered, and he placed it there with care. He doesn't say why. He doesn't attach a note or try to explain what it means. But you feel it. That small act carries the weight of everything he's not saying. He's not asking you to stay. He's not trying to pull you back. But in that quiet offering, he's giving you one last message. I still know what matters to you. I still care. I still remember who you are. He chose that book because it was yours, not just physically, but emotionally. It held parts of you he loved. It reminded him of your softness, your depth, your dreams. And in placing it on your seat, he wasn't holding on. He was letting go with love. That gesture becomes his way of saying goodbye, not with bitterness, but with grace. Because some men don't fight to stop you. They fight to honor who you were to them, even as you leave. And maybe, days later, when you see that book again, you'll remember more than just the story inside it. You'll remember the quiet way he placed it there, without a word, without a plea, as if to say, I'll never stop seeing you for who you truly are, even as you walk away. 15. He says take care, like it's a whisper for please stay. He doesn't say, don't go. He doesn't ask, can we fix this? Instead, at the very end, when you're already halfway out the door, or about to hang up, or walking away with everything unsaid still between you, he simply says, take care. It sounds polite, casual, like something you say when you don't know what else to say. But in his voice, it lingers. It's softer than usual, slower, like he's holding onto the words too tightly and letting them go too late. Because in truth, take care isn't just about your safety. It's about his heartbreak. He says it hoping you'll hear what is not allowed to speak aloud, hoping you'll feel the weight behind the words, that is still looking out for you, even from a distance, that he still cares, deeply, protectively, even if is no longer allowed to show it openly. Sometimes, it's the last line in the script of a love that's unraveling, and yet, it holds the entire play. It's his silent plea, stay safe, stay strong, stay, but maybe, stay with me. But he won't push. He won't beg. So he pours everything into those two words, trying to sound calm while his heart whispers something louder. Please don't forget me. Please don't disappear. And after you're gone, after the message is sent or the call ends, he'll sit with the echo of take care, replaying it in his mind, wishing he had said more. But knowing that, for someone like him, that was more. Because sometimes, when a man can't say, I love you, or please stay, he says the only thing he can, the last words that carry all his unsaid emotion. Take care. And if you listen closely enough, you'll hear everything he meant behind it.